I'm Dan O'Connell. I'm from Bournemouth University. I would be the third year, but I'm currently on a deferred leave. But I'll be back next September.
Which would be 2021 September.
Yeah.
Can you tell us your hometown?
So I'm from Newbury, which is probably about an hour's drive west of London.
Okay. Could you remind us of the course you're currently taking at university?
So I'm taking at the moment multimedia journalism.
Why did you choose your course?
I wasn't really sure when I was in sixth form what I wanted to do when I was older. And then all of a sudden it was kind of like I was doing English language, media studies, politics, and economics. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. So I dropped economics because that was the one I was least enjoying. And but at the same time, I wanted to keep my options open. So actually dropping the subject was hard in a way because it sort of closed off the more maths-based courses. But then it was like all of a sudden I was down to 3 courses and it was time to start choosing a university and I really didn't know what I wanted to do. So I looked at courses that sort of kept my options open and things like business studies is one, but then it didn't really suit what I was doing at A-level. So I decided something a bit more based around English and media, and that's where I came to journalism. And it's sort of just given me the skills to approach different areas, but without really becoming specialised at it, because then that would potentially close doors in future for any career I'd want. Because I wasn't sure, and so that's how I got to journalism.
Okay, you've now said you're in your deferred third year, so you've had 2 years of Bournemouth University on your course.
Yeah,
what have you thought of your course so far?
I think it's quite fun actually, because I've learned in those 2 years how to do newspaper writing, blog writing, magazine writing, present in front of a TV screen or camera, a bit of radio presenting, being a editor behind the scenes for a radio, do what's called a news day, which is like you go in the morning at 9 a.m, they tell you go and find a story. You then go out off campus, try and find a story somewhere, interview someone, and then come back and then either present it or have something prepared for like a news bulletin, very similar to sort of thing you'd see maybe at like 6 o'clock on the news, something like that. Obviously, it wouldn't actually be published anywhere, but it was like an experience thing. And it's just the case of, since I've come to the uni, I've learned how to basically be a journalist in a way. And then the final year, from what I know from people who are on my course, they say, and it's just, you harness it down to one of those areas. So it's just more the same. I'm really looking forward to it.
Okay. If we go into your university, could you mind, before we go into university, did you come from a sixth form or college background?
I came from sixth form. It was a secondary school which had a sixth form attached.
What subjects did you take in sixth form?
Media studies, politics, and English language.
Did any of these subjects help you with your course?
Yes, I'd say media and English certainly helped me for journalism directly. In terms of English, improved the language I was using when I was reporting stories, particularly in newspaper writing, magazines. And then I'd say media studies is really good for me regarding the more technical things for like the TV and the radio, knowing all the like editing functions, learning how to use Adobe, Photoshop and Premiere Pro. Very, very useful for me.
And what subjects do you think are best for your course?
I'd say either English, so English Lit or English language. Both of them, I think, I reckon you have to be studying one of those, I think, to take the course. Possibly media studies. It's not essential because you will, after first year, get up to speed with basics on just editing software. I'm not sure what other courses directly would link to it, but because journalism is quite an open course, I'd say that you can be like really into something like PE, for instance, because you could then go off and start doing sports journalism and talking more technical about sports. And through PE, you've learned maybe like how the body functions, so you can then go into technical with like recovery of an athlete or something and do a story on that. It's just that sort of thing. You can almost, any course can work with journalism. I'd say the 2 Englishes and probably media, the key ones, to have at least one of them.
Okay. So now, if we go into your university, could you remind us of where you're currently studying?
Where? Sorry, did you say where? Or
where you're currently studying?
So I'm at Bournemouth University.
If we go into the best and worst things about studying at Bournemouth University, starting off with the worst.
I'm not sure there's too many bad things apart from maybe my own personal motivation to do revision for exams. I just enjoyed the social life sometimes a bit too much, and I forget that actually I'm there to learn as well as have a good time.
So if we have no bad things, we can go right into the good things.
Yeah, I mean, the library is very good. I've been in there several times. They've got up-to-date technology in there, like you can hire out a MacBook, or you can use one of the Windows laptops. You can just rent it with your uni student cards. You've got loads of areas that are quiet to study in. And then there's loads of places that serve you like hot drinks and like cafes and stuff. And then there's lots of buildings as well, which have got different departments in as well. So it's not like you might choose to study in Weymouth House, for instance, and that's all very similar to like journalism and things. And you'll find that people around you are doing similar things. And you might find that they might be able to give you some advice on your course, perhaps, because it's kind of like not deliberate, but you can have you just find that people tend to be in their areas where they usually work anyway. So you can just pick brains of maybe senior students if you're a first year. I know that's not necessarily what a lot of people do, but it's there. Do you know what I mean?
The option.
Yeah.
Now, if we go into your accommodation, where did you stay in your first year?
So I chose Dorchester House. I just thought it was one of the newest buildings. It's right outside the first stop for the bus. So almost every morning, except the first day, I always had a seat. Basically, I loved it. I used to always have the seat first on the right behind the disabled seat. It's always my seat every day, every morning.
And what did you think about living there? So the benefits. Was it good? Was it bad? Could you tell us what it was like?
I'd say in terms of location and the facilities, they're very good. Like I said, because it's quite modern, quite new. It's quite modern. So inside the kitchen, like it was quite clean as well. They tried to maintain that standard of cleanliness. I mean, they had someone come around every week to check on the flat to make sure there was no beer bottles lying around, and there was nothing out that could damage the facilities. The laundry area was easy to access, bottom floor, down by the common room. The common room, again, they served hot drinks in there and sometimes, and they put on a few events. There was a snooker table, TV. So that was really good. I'd say one of the downsides was the actual construction of the flat I was in. It was like a flat roof. We weren't the top floor, but there was no one above us. So when it rained, the water would sit on our roof, and sometimes it would leak through. And I've got a video on my phone where we put a knife through the ceilings because it was really sagging because it was full of water. Put a knife through it, and it was like a small waterfall. Like someone had turned a tap on it. It was just dripping through into a bin. And the maintenance crew, they didn't do a proper job fixing it. They just painted over, thinking that a bit of paint would miraculously stop a leak. And then within a week, it rained again, it leaked again. It was just a bit of a repeat cycle, and they just kept taking shortcuts. And that was a problem I found, was the actual maintenance team weren't perhaps treating the building with as much respect as our students, and yet the students are always getting blamed for it by the people who were down at reception.
If we go from a spectrum of party house to study/chill house, where would Dorchester be placed if we had to put it on the spectrum? More to the party side or more to the chill side?
Mixed, very mixed, because there were some flats that were very much the lively. They were all very up for a night out. They were all outgoing people, but then there was also the possibility, if you wanted to just keep quiet and study. I mean, my flat we were pretty neutral actually. None of us were going out crazy amounts, but then at the same time, none of us were just camped in our room all day. But yeah, it was mixed. They weren't really encouraging like a Purbeck. It's just known as just the sesh building. Like everyone in there is just up for a night out, no matter what. They're the same at Cranbourne. But at Dorchester, it's mixed because I think because it's quite new still. There's a bit of like they haven't quite worked out what sort of people go there yet. Whereas with one of the selling points of Purbeck was it's a party house, whereas Dorchester it's just new. You know what I mean? And it's the same with Home Park as well. I think they hadn't worked out whether it was more for the people who wanted the nights out where it was required. And I think over time you'll see it more. Like maybe if you ask someone who's in there right now, they might say, "Oh, it's more of a party." Like Dorchester might be more party because it's sort of developed a bit, but I don't know. When I was there though, I'd say it's 50-50.
Okay. Where did you live in your second year?
I lived in Winton.
So you moved to a house?
Yeah, moved to a house.
What was it like going from Dorchester to a house?
I much preferred a house, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, I did enjoy my time at Dorchester because it's like my room. I used to actually enjoy my room. I thought it was quite spacious for a flat. But looking at my house, I got on better with my housemates. One of my flatmates was a housemate, but then the other two, because it was a 4-man house, we got on really well. And just the build up of a house is just a little bit better. It's kind of like in halls, your door has to shut, so it's kind of like unless you block it, you wouldn't. You might think, oh, someone doesn't want to be disturbed. Whereas in your house, none of us used to shut our door because we didn't want to. Do you know what I mean? Unless we were going to sleep. So it was kind of like you could just walk in and start talking to a housemate. And I think the build of our house just really suited us 4 lads, because we got a lad's house and we were just 4 chilled guys. And we used to sit in the front room as well. The lounge was a lot more comfy than in the halls.
So what advice would you give to students that want to move from student halls to house?
If you question it, don't, because you'll definitely thank me if you move into a flat, or not flat, into a house, because it's just better socially. A house is better for you, I think. The only downside is obviously if you are looking to go on a night out, you'll have to get a taxi as opposed to walking into town.
Okay. If we now go into the Bournemouth area, could you tell us about the Bournemouth nightlife? What was the club for you pre-COVID?
The club for me? Ooh. See, that's the tricky one, because obviously every week they had Cameo.
Cameo Wednesdays?
Yeah, Cameo Wednesdays, you know. Yeah, Cameo Wednesdays is the one. But I didn't mind Old Fire when there was an event on. I didn't used to go to
what the Old Fire is. Sorry.
Oh, okay. It's like an old fire station. I'm not sure how long ago it was a fire station, but it was one, and it's been converted into a nightclub along. Is it Broadhurst Road?
Holdenhurst, I believe.
Holdenhurst, that's it. I remember the bus used to go past it every day. Yeah, it's on Holdenhurst Road, and it's it's like a smaller club than Cameo, but it's like the student night on a Friday, isn't it? It's like.
Can I ask why? Obviously, interviewing previous students from Bournemouth University, Cameo Wednesdays seems to be the only consistent nightclub that comes up for every single person. Some people, I've heard Toast, I've heard Lollipop, I've heard Revs or Revolution, but Cameo Wednesdays seem to be the most consistent club. Could you tell us what about Cameo is so attractive for a lot of students that go to Bournemouth?
It's the biggest. That holds regular nights out, because I think, and it's got multiple rooms as well with different moods. You've got one room that's vinyl, which obviously plays the old school classics, and you can go in there and just sing your heart out for the whole night. That's what people do in there. You've got main room, which is usually like whatever's currently trending or whatever usually gets the crowd hyped. Then you've got downstairs, which is like the basement, it's called basement, which is like rap, UK rap, US rap, any of that sort of thing, trap music. So you get a lot of people who go down there like that sort of genre. And then you've got My U Bar as well, which is kind of like there's a bit of music playing, but usually people just go there to grab a drink and chill. There's a few booths around there. So it's quite well laid out. Yeah, it's quite well laid out for a nightclub, because it's sort of like not everyone goes to the same club, the same music text, and it sort of appeals to a lot more. Whereas if you go to somewhere like Toast, there's only 2 rooms, and it gets really, really packed.
Okay. If we now go into the shops, is there more chain shops or local shops? So this is shops for like, buying groceries or buying your everyday items. Is it more chain or local?
I'd say chain, particularly around the halls. You've got a Tesco, I think it's an Express. You've got an Asda. There's a Lidl just up the road from the train station. Out towards where the Bournemouth football stadium is, there's another Tesco as well. Yeah, there's a lot of supermarkets, and then also in Winton as well, you've got a Waitrose and you've got a Lidl. I think there might be a Co-op somewhere up there as well.
Okay.
And an Iceland as well. So there's lots of supermarkets about, but I've not really seen a lot of locals.
And if we go into restaurants, again, is it more chain or is it more local? So this is like, your Nando's, McDonald's, KFC, like these chain restaurants that you normally see around the UK. Are these, again, Bournemouth, is it more local or chain?
It is more chain, unfortunately. There are a few. I mean, along Winton High Street, you've got a few restaurants that run their own
suggest?
thing. I'm not sure what it's called. I can't remember. There's like a curry house towards the top end of Winton High Street, up by opposite a church, I think it is. That's quite good in there. And then there's the Noodle Bar, which is sort of towards Cranbourne as well. I've been there a couple of times, really enjoyed it.
What's your dish at the Noodle Bar?
I can't remember now. I can't remember. If I got the menu up, I could point it out to you. It's like a beef one, but it's like in a big bowl. I don't know if all the dishes are like that, but it's like
that's all right.
I think they are, to be honest, thinking about it, because we all got it, and there's like a group of 8 of us at the time, and it's like we're coming back here, and then we went back about 2 days later. Really enjoyed it again, and we were just like, we can't keep coming back here because it's expensive for a student.
Is there anything else you think students should know about the Bournemouth area?
The beach, elephant in the room, really. I mean, a lot of families go to Bournemouth anyway for holidays down on the beach. Even in winter, it's a lovely place to go. And then also in springtime or in autumn, when it's still warm, you might actually find after a day at uni or a weekend sometimes, the beach is actually still quite quiet. So that's actually a really good time to go, because it's like before the proper summer season where it's heaving. You go in spring or autumn and you can get yourself a cracking day on the beach with the sun still, and it's like maybe high teens, 20 degrees, and it's just a lovely day. Okay.
If we now go into advice, what general advice would you give to students about to study at university?
Stay disciplined, to be honest. You want to be making sure that you work hard as well as play hard. I've fallen into that trap in second year, but luckily I got away with it because of that policy. I can't remember what it's called now, where it's kind of like you can't get below.
Oh, the no detriment policy.
No detriment, that's the one. Because of that saved me, because I had already put in a bit of graft at the start of the year, and it's just slowly slipped away towards Christmas and just after New Year. But I got saved by the no detriment. So when I go back in final year, I know not to be as complacent as that, because I thought the second year was too easy and I took my foot off the gas. But stay disciplined is definitely probably the most important one for me anyway. And also make sure you keep on track with like everything. Get some sort of like notebook or a diary and just record everything that's got a due date, because there's nothing worse than not writing something down and then thinking all of a sudden out of nowhere, oh, when have I got this due in? And then you find out and it's like less than a week to do a whole assignment. Nothing's worse than that. I've not personally had it, but I've got a good friend that did, and it was not nice to see him in the state he was. It was every night for like 4 days straight. I don't think he had much sleep, and he was just powering through his assignment. And he was like, oh, I wish I'd had some sort of like something recorded just so we could keep an eye on it. So yeah, those are the 2 key things I'd say: organisation and discipline.
What advice would you give to students about to study at Bournemouth University?
How such? What to do?
So more, is there anything to do with just students that are curious coming to Bournemouth University? What advice would you give them? Could be anything.
Probably what I said before about organisation, discipline. Obviously, they're key. Same thing. Make sure you check out Cameo on a Wednesday night if you're into nights out. If not, there's plenty of clubs for people who maybe don't want to do night clubbing. As such. So you just got to check on the freshers in the freshers week, the freshers fair. Go to that. You find there's actually a lot of people who are like you, don't like nights out. Sometimes I feel there's like a people go to uni with this impression that you have to like nights out and it's all about that. It's not at all. There's obviously that is a key factor for a lot of people, but there's a lot more to uni than social life than just the night out. And if you go to Freshers Fair, check it out. There's all sorts going on. I was unfortunate. I went a bit late in first year. I slept in too long, but when I still got half an hour to an hour's worth of information, it was great. It set me perfectly up for what to expect.
Okay. What advice would you give to students about to study your course at university?
Just check out the website. If you know any contact details of any of the lecturers on your course, might be worth dropping them an email about what's to come, maybe stuff to maybe look up in advance. Just get yourself prepared. It's not for my course personally, it wasn't too much of a shock when I first went in there. They eased us in quite nicely. But if you just want that little bit of a head start, maybe on a few other people, get on the right side of the lecturers. They're all really nice people anyway, but just get on the right side of them, show you're keen, then it might be worth dropping them an email or getting in contact or just looking at the website and seeing maybe what previous examples you can get hold of or something like that.
You chose going to university over an apprenticeship / going right into work. What path you to make this choice?
It's not a lot really. I mean, I was tempted to do something like an apprenticeship. If something came up that I thought, yeah, do you know what, that does suit me down to a T, because obviously I was undecided. I was very much open to anything. But then nothing really did come up, and I thought, do you know what, I just find having a degree or something like that will set me up better than if I went to an apprenticeship and didn't enjoy it. I felt the risk of that was higher than the risk of going to uni and dropping out, because I don't know, really. I personally, a little bit of an arrogance. I didn't feel I would drop out of uni. Do you know what I mean? I just felt that I had enough intelligence to know that I can get through 3 years of university. No, I don't necessarily know that I'll get first, but I just knew that I'd get through it. And I think going to university has helped me mature in terms of my social life as well. I've met a lot of new people, whereas I've got mates who are doing apprenticeships, and their social groups have actually shrunk a bit because of mates that have gone off to uni and found new friends. Whereas I feel like mine's grown crazy in the last year, especially second year. I find second year's the year where you have your small group of friends that then branch out. And if I hadn't gone to uni, there's about 30 odd people who I would class as a good mate that I would never have met.
Okay. So at this point, I let students have what I like to call a free-for-all. You can say what you want about what you like. You can give advice. You could put your acts. You can say something positive. You can say something negative. Literally, the floor is yours.
I've said, to be fair, I've said a lot of things I wanted to say. I mean, I think Bournemouth is a cracking university. It might not be the Oxford or Cambridge's, but then if you're going to Bournemouth, you know it's not. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like everyone's around the same level at this uni. There's such a variety of different clubs you can join, lots of sports to get involved in. I was too lazy to get up and try for the football trials the last 2 years. That's why I've never bothered to get in the team, but there's plenty of opportunity. Again, Freshers Fair is the place to be to get your name signed up. Get your name out there, try meet loads of people. Like maybe when you first move in, if you're that outgoing sort of person, obviously get matey with your flat quickly if you like, see if you can speak to your neighbouring flats, speak to mutual friends, get involved in groups. You'll find a lot of people will be very reserved, but if you're that person that makes that first sort of push to say, look, I'm going to do this, you'll find a lot of people go, do you know what, yeah, I'll jump on that, I'll come for the social. And yeah, that's pretty much it really. Just as long as you have a positive mindset, really, uni's a cracking thing to do. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Amazing. Thank you.